What's going on, guys? This is Amy Nicholas. Welcome back to the channel. I wanted to share with you how I created my trading journal and playbook. This idea came from Mike Bellafiore from SMB Capital and his book, The Playbook. And basically, I've been tracking my trades via screenshots in Google Slides since sometime in May, I think is when I started this. I have to scroll back and look. I've been fairly consistent. I miss a few days in here, but going back, I started this end of April. Okay, so let's just say we're starting from scratch. I'll put in today's trade here, and you're gonna see all this stuff you don't need here. You can delete these boxes, whatever you wanna do. I kind of like to just make my own box. So we'll get rid of both of these. And the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna bring in the screenshot. I got a better screenshot from TradingView than I did from Robinhood. I watched the charts on Robinhood, but it's kind of a, let's see, where are we at here? Because I have it on my vertical monitor, it's kind of goofy looking when I try to pull it in. So I've got this screenshot from TradingView, which is not my preferred because I like my pretty chart like this. It's blurry because of the vertical monitor. This was taken on the horizontal. So I'm gonna have to squeeze this in order to have room. So this is the quote unquote hardest part of doing this playbook thing, is just formatting things here and putting it in there. Yeah, see, it's like already starting to blur. It's kind of a pain in the butt. I don't really know. There's some programs, and I think even on TradingView you can screenshot. I wanted a specific area because I don't want the whole freaking widescreen version that TradingView is going to end up giving me. So I know based on my trade of where I got in this morning, where I got in was actually a doji. Yeah, I kind of goofed this morning on my bracket order. I did a 3-way OCO order, and I get in here at this pullback to, I guess this is the 9 EMA, the blue line. So I get in on that, and by the way, I'm pulling out the line here in order to mark my entry, and then I like to make it pink. So I get in, on this pullback as a 3-way OCO order, which is one cancels the other. And because it's after the open, I had 2 sell orders. I had a take profit order and I had a actual stop loss, because you can do stop losses once the market opens. So what I ended up doing, because I haven't traded after the open for probably like a week or two, and I think I goofed and I put my take profit in the stop and the stop loss amount in the take profit. So when I went to hit submit, Thinkorswim rejected my order for the 2 sell orders. It went in as a buy. I did get into the trade, and all of a sudden I realized, oh shoot, I'm like quote unquote naked in the order. And so I didn't stay long. I saw that it went green immediately, and I was kind of like, oh shoot, I don't have my stop set up. I don't have anything set up. So I'm just gonna exit if it looks like it's gonna stay green, which it did. So I kind of get out over here at the top of the doji. So it was like 596 out at 607. And then of course it makes another move and, continues on. But for my risk management sake, I just didn't like not having anything set up. That's just not how I trade. So anyways, I'm using these lines here to mark it. Like I said, I like to do pink. It just kind of stands out over the chart. And then I'll add text, like a text box. You just do that. And what I like to do is put in the date. Let's make that bold. You have to like resize some things. Once you make one slide though, you can duplicate and just kind of fill things in, which is nice. So today is, what are we at, Tuesday, 6/17. For some reason it always goes to gray. I have to change that to black. And then I'm usually putting my size, no, it's like 10. I don't want it too super big, right? Okay, and then I'll put how many shares I bought, what the ticker symbol was. I'm still bold. And then I'll put the price in and out, and I'll put the time in and out. So let's do price 596, and then I was out 607, okay? And then I'll do a separate box, text, and this is where I'll have the time, which sometimes I move the time around to wherever I want it, but again, it's gonna be all goofy here. Okay, so time in, I already made this slide, so I'm gonna go back and see, 640 to 641. Okay, so time zone is PST. So if you're wondering, this is after the open, but I'm 3 hours behind, so in, out, 1 a.m. And then we're back to 10. And yeah, there's probably some way to default this. I'm just not sure how to do it. So yeah, I might have this actually under, you can just drag and move things around, yada, yada. And then, oh, forgot to put my P&L in here. This is my favorite part if it's a green trade. P/L, we were up $2.20. And then I'll highlight it in lime green. If it was a losing trade, I'll highlight it in red. And I can show you example up here with KWM. There's my, oh, that actually says plus. Why does that say plus? That should have been minus. Okay. So 220, and I like to have that in bold. This does not need to be in bold. I'm kind of picky about this. Okay. And then if I had taken multiple trades on the same stock around the same time, then I will just add the data in there. Like for example, this trade I did on SRM, I went in twice. So I just kept everything on one page. And then I'll have like another area where I'm just putting some notes. Even though I have a trading journal I actually write in, I still like to put the notes here in the playbook because it's kind of like my second review of what happened, you know, like if something crazy happened, you know, something I was thinking, whatever, some little note here. So like, for example, I already did this note, but I'm going to just copy, oops, copy my note here. And then again, you can just insert a text box. So I said crap setups during the pre-market, finally something moving after the open. Although I did put this, float was high because usually I don't trade stuff that's 90 million float. Usually I'm within like the 20 or less, but there was just nothing going on today, like absolutely nothing. And this one had clean moves, so that's why I went for it. And I said, you know, the mix up about the OCO order, got rejected, yada, yada. And then later, which I'm going to add now, that realized may have switched a TP stop amounts by accident in the three-way. Yeah, because I caught myself doing this later. I didn't actually take another trade, but I was setting one up and I caught myself putting them in the wrong place. I was like, oh, I wonder if this is what I did on this other trade. So anyways, yeah, nothing too crazy with this playbook. I try to keep it simple, just, you know, just the facts, some notes. Most importantly though is the screenshot. Like I've got to find a way to get better screenshots. Sometimes on Robinhood, I've gotten better ones. I think it just depends on, like, for example, this one up here for TGL. I don't know how I got such a good, clean screenshot on this one. Some of the other ones just are coming out, like, terrible. But I like to include the chart with all the indicators, add my lines, you know, entry, exit, and then also show the MACD because actually from doing this playbook, I was able to figure out why some of my trades were losers because I got in when the MACD was negative. And that might not have just shown its head, you know, I wouldn't have realized that, had that insight if I hadn't looked back at some of these trades. Like, I'm trying to remember, there was a very specific one. I don't think it was here. I'm kind of just trying to find out where. There was one that just stood out to me, and it was like about a month ago where I was like, oh, it's so obvious. Like, why did I get in here? This was an internet glitch. That one don't account. That was a plus. Okay, like, yeah, this one, this KWM, not so bad that it went below the 9 EMA. That's still a healthy pullback for me as long as it's above the VWAP and or the 20. But when I look down here, boom, crossing, right? Even if it hadn't crossed yet, if I saw that it was curling over like that, I shouldn't have gotten the trade. And it was like, already starting to show probably some volume selling down here on the MACD profile. So yeah, this was one I should never have taken. And apparently, like, I think I wasn't even trying to take this order. It was like another glitch kind of thing. So, but anyways, like, watch what you're doing, guys. Learn from me. So yeah, so there's the playbook. It's so helpful when you go back like a month, and now I've actually got almost 2 months worth of data in here to just look at your old trades and look at what worked and what didn't. Like, I'm gonna go back to, okay, that was a good trade. I got back in on that one. That was a volatile trade. I'm trying to find one that feel like is a good example. Some of these I'm just like, no, not a good example. 10 cent, no. Oh, this was a good one, PTIX. I want to say this might have been the very first trade that I started using my pullback entry strategy. And I call it mine, even though Ross Cameron is who I watch and listen to. And he talks about micro pullbacks. But what I do differently is I actually heard Dr. David Paul talk about put your entry where most people or where you think you would have gotten stopped out. So for example, this stock, I don't know if you can see, there's a wick right here, and this candle went way up. So I put a limit order entry down here. I get filled at 823 as it's coming back down. As you can see, my pink line coming back down. And then the stock proceeds to rip right after taking me with it, and I get out at 894, which was almost the high of the day. Looking back at this chart, I'm like, oh, this is such a great like confirmation that this strategy works, and I'm finding it works more and more for me if I'm in the right place putting my entry. A lot of times I've put my entry in way too low, and I get just left behind in the dust, and I don't chase stocks, so I've just missed out, But this setup, this chart, had I not screenshot that and seen what a beautiful trade that was, it might not have shown me like how this setup was validated for me. And it's really good for my trading style because I like to jump in on fast moving stocks, but I found myself, if I tried to trade like Ross, I found myself getting filled like freaking, way up here or way up here, and then, the thing might flush or whatever. And it just didn't work for me because I just don't have a fast enough broker. I don't have the execution speed. So I preferred to kind of get in exactly where I think, I would have gotten stopped out anyway. Like if I had gotten in the top of this candle here, my stop was like down here, I would have got stopped out. Like, look how far it came down. So yeah, it works. So anyways, guys, that's the playbook. Hope you enjoyed. And I'll see you on the next one. Be sure to check out my day trading resources down below. And also come join us in Amy's Trading Tribe on Telegram. We're having successes. People are sharing their wins, cognitions, things like that. It's helping me as well. So appreciate everybody that's already in there. And I'll see you guys on the next one.